Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 134th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. It's the usual 31k rules, no artillery, no elephants, 3 berserkers max, 2 horse archers max, and 6 cavalry max. The team I'm in today consists of Brotherhood member Killer B. If you notice, he's still got that ancient clan name on the beginning of his name, the Elitz clan. That's right from the roots of RTW, but it is actually Brotherhood member Killer B. And then we have myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Rome Julii faction. And then we have Brotherhood member Pompey, who has bought the Rome Brutii faction there. This game was fought approximately 5 months ago, and just to say that I know Killer and Pomp has been playing RTW for about 9 years each, and as you might know, I've been playing the game since it's first come out, so we've got nearly 30 years of RTW combined experience in this game, so it'll be interesting to see what happens, and the other team's really great too. And here is the other team. We have RTW player Hannibal Barker, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. And then we have RTW player, he's called himself Dog, but very often good RTW players change their names just for a bit of a joke, so my guess is that this player is probably known by a different name and is probably a good player too. And then their last team member is Heaven's Coda. And he's bought the Macedon faction there. I don't believe Code is in Heaven anymore, but when this battle was played, he was. So there's the other team there. Should be a great battle for you to watch, and hope you enjoy it. At this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at Coda's Macedon army here. And there you go, he's got his I think it's the Royal Pikemen there, with their long pikes. I think he's got approximately 11 units of them there. And they're, as I say before, with those long pikes, they're very difficult to fight through to be able to get to the Macedon soldiers on the other end to be able to kill them. Then he's got his Cretan archers. Remember, Cretan archers have got really long range and do a lot of damage. And then we go to the companion cavalry, and then the Macedon companion cavalry are a really great cavalry. I think they've got a massive charge bonus and are pretty tough in their own right too. So there's Coda's Macedon army. Looks pretty good to me. Pretty tough too. And now we're going to have a look at the general, if you like, overview of the very early stages of the game here. There you are. You can see the teams kind of like forming up against each other here. Traditionally, the Pike factions usually go in the centre. See where Macedon is in the centre of his team there, so that he can actually, if you like, send reinforcements of his pikes out to either flank there, and it's quite a useful place to have a Pike faction in the centre. Now I know both my allies Pompey and Killer are very aggressive RTW generals, so the battle could kick off on either flank here. We'll just have to wait and see. It looks maybe that it might start here on the right flank. If you notice, I believe it's Killer's army there, the Brutii, don't forget, against, I think it's RTW player Hannibal Barker's Scipii army there. You can see a lot of pilers going in there from both teams, almost like it was raining pilers there. And what a great invention those pilot shield units are, you know, putting in front of the main battle line in open order, how they soak up the pilers rather than having your men in close order, which would cause a lot more casualties. So as I say, over on the right flank here, it looks like this is where the aggression might start. As you can see, they're still exchanging pilers here. If you notice, there's a couple of the Scipii cavalry charging in, looking to hit that one Brutii pilot shield unit that's a little bit exposed at the front. Probably looking to try and rout that unit, but probably killers throwing some pilers into that cavalry as well, so they're going to back off before they suffer too many casualties. If you notice, there's a lot of cavalry over on this enemy cavalry over on this right flank now. So looking at the battle so far, this is where I would think that that things may start. If you notice, the enemy Scipii cavalry are moving out to our right flank now, probably with a view to threaten killers' flank there. If you notice in the centre here, I'm moving over towards the right flank there with my army, as it does look, looks like this is where the action is going to start, so I want to be close to my allies so I can send reinforcements if needed. But if you notice, their forward units are already engaged here on this right flank. More enemy cavalry moving over to the right. You see a Scipii enemy cavalry charge going in there. Bang! As that cavalry hits. Notice he hasn't aimed too deep into the into Killer's army there. He just wanted to hit one of the forward units there with his cavalry. Nice little move that. Hopefully he was going to avoid being piloted too heavily by the standing infantry as well there. Meanwhile, over on our left flank, you see it's quite quiet there at the moment, but those of you that have watched other battle videos of mine will know that sometimes quiet places don't stay quiet very long. If you notice here that the enemy Scipii army facing Pompey is sending reinforcements over to the right, and if you notice that Pompey sent reinforcements over to the right as well. So with the build-up of forces by both teams on the right flank here, this looks to me like where the action may well start. If you notice here, Pompey's bringing his infantry support units plus his cavalry out here to the right in a very threatening way towards the enemy Scipii cavalry. As I say, Pompey and Killer are renowned for their aggressive tactics here, so I'm just waiting for things to kick off all of a sudden, and when it starts I think it's going to be quite explosive here, maybe over on the right flank. You see Killer's brought his infantry support units over and have kind of if you like, widened our right flank there to stop the enemy being able to flank so easily. So nice little tactical move there by Pompey, and nice support move as well for Killer. Let's say we've got a lot of cavalry facing each other there, so it'd be interesting to see what happens. If you notice that the Macedon pike general now is moving his pike units over to support his left flank there. So let's say there's a massive build-up of forces here on our right, on their left. If you notice, I've moved some of my Julii infantry out there as well to support my ally. Here's a close-up of the fighting here between our allies' Brutii army and the enemy Scipii infantry there. If you notice the little army that I've brought out to support my allies, I've got an eagle unit with it to give those units a morale boost there for if they're attacked. So that little mini army with the eagle unit should be able to hold quite well if it is attacked by the enemy there. Now if you notice, if the Macedon general moves his pikemen in with his Scipii ally there, it would make it very difficult for us to attack that infantry with our cavalry. Obviously we don't want to tangle with pikemen. Right, if you notice here, the enemy cavalry charging in through the pikemen. Did you notice that the pikes are up? Remember, if the pikes are down, friendly pikes kill friendly cavalry. So the enemy pikes are up there to allow his allies' cavalry to charge through into our infantry. Remember that. Those of you that's watched other battle videos of mine, I think we've seen this before, where good allies with pikes always make sure that they put their pikes up as their cavalry teammates charge through. If you notice, the enemy Scipio army has extended its own flank here to stop us from moving around the flank of them as well. So that's a nice little move by the enemy team there. As I said right from the beginning of this game, it looks like all the aggression here is going to be on this right flank, on our right flank here. Now see that Scipio cavalry, the enemy Scipio cavalry lined up behind the Scipio infantry and Macedon pikemen there. Can you see that Scipio cavalry there? Now if you notice, the pikes are down. Right, now have you seen, I'm just going to pause the game here, did you see then that the Macedon general knew that his allies were going to charge their cavalry in, so he's put his pikes up? Nice. Now remember this, remember friendly pikes kill friendly cavalry, so obviously his teammate said, right, I'm charging my cavalry through, so then Coda puts his pikes up to allow his cavalry through his pikemen into our infantry. Okay, nice little team play there, nice little teamwork by the other team. But there's something else I'm going to show you here as well. Right, so the pikes are up, the Scipio cavalry are charging in, right, they charge in. I'm just going to pause the game again here just for a second because I want to show you this. Right, now do you notice that the Scipio cavalry have charged in, but can you see all that cavalry behind the pikeman has not charged in, and now he's pulling his cavalry back out. Okay, now this is a nice little tactic by this team, because if you notice, I'm charging my Julii cavalry in. Okay, so that Scipio cavalry only charged in just a little bit past the pikes to try and entice my cavalry to countercharge. Okay, so they want me to counterattack their cavalry. But the trick of this is, he's now going to pull his cavalry out. Hopefully my cavalry is going to carry on charging, then his ally is going to put his pikes down, so my cavalry is going to charge in to the pikes down. But if you notice, I spotted that and stopped my cavalry charging and pulled them back. But that was just a nice little tactic. I thought you'd be interested to see that. Just to try and charge his cavalry in a little bit, just to entice my cavalry to attack, and then pull his cavalry out, and his ally puts the pikes down, hoping that my cavalry would continue the charge. So that's a nice little tactical move there by the enemy team, and I thought you'd be interested in seeing that. As you can see here, it's still a very aggressive fighting here on the right flank, with lots of cavalry on both teams here stood ready to attack. If you notice there, our allies Brutii cavalry is charged in on the edge of that Macedon pikeman into some enemy Scipii cavalry there. If you notice, the Scipii cavalry are now counter-attacking. If you notice, my little army there with its eagle unit is stood firm, trying to repel that cavalry. If you notice, I'm charging my cavalry in now. If you notice here on the right, can you see that I believe Pomp is charging his Brutii cavalry in as well. All very aggressive attacking actions by both teams here. And bang! As Pompey's cavalry hits home there. Nice impact there. You can see my cavalry there as well. As I say, we're trying to target that enemy Scipii infantry, trying to keep away from the pikemen if we can. Notice now, do you remember what we always say about cavalry attacks? In, hit, get the full cavalry charge bonus, don't hang around, pull your cavalry out, rally, and then with a mind charging again to get the full cavalry charge bonus. If you notice, the enemy's done the same as well. But as you notice now on this, as I said right from the beginning, on this right flank, it seems this is where the action is at the moment. As you can see, Pompey's got his cavalry out here to the right flank, ready to charge in. Just pausing the game for a second so we can take stock of the situation. As you can see, it's very fierce fighting in this right centre and on the right flank here. You see the enemy Scipii infantry, Roman infantry, with its Macedon allies. Nice little force there, because it really does stop our cavalry charging into them, and they've got their Roman infantry there as well, their tough Roman infantry there as well. In the centre you can see there's not a lot going on there. at the moment. As you can see, I've moved my small army over there to the right to help my ally, and over on our left flank here you can see that the enemy Scipii army, I think it's Dog's RTW player Dog's army, is now attacking Pompey's infantry over here on the left. But as you can see, the main action here is over on our right. So that's the situation there. It'll be interesting to see what happens next. You see Pompey's cavalry, it reminds me of a hammercock on a rifle, and all he needs to do is pull the trigger and bang, those cavalry are going to charge in. Is that the impression you got as well? It's just kind of just waiting for the moment when he's going to charge. But there's a lot of enemy cavalry out on this right flank as well. Okay, can you see Pompey's now charging his cavalry in at an angle, hopefully hit the flank of those fighting troops that he's charging into. If you notice, the enemy cavalry are counter-attacking on our right flank as well, trying to kill our allies' infantry here on the right flank. If you notice, I'm charging my cavalry in as well. Now, I'm aware that there's pike units behind the enemy Scipii infantry, so I'm not going to penetrate that deep with my cavalry. I only want to hit that enemy Scipii infantry there. I don't want to go any further because, as I said, the pikes are down. I don't want to tangle cavalry with pikes. As you can see here on the right, a lot of our allies' Brutii infantry have been routed there by the enemy cavalry. It looks to me, just going to pause the game for a second here for us to take stock of the situation. As you can see here on the right flank, things are not looking very good for us. Can you see that most of our allies' infantry has been routed, and there's a lot of enemy cavalry there on our right. So, like we said at the beginning of the game, this looks like the fiercest part of the battlefield, and things are not looking that good for us there, with all our allies' infantry, nearly all our allies' infantry routed there. In the centre, you can see we're fighting fiercely here with the enemy Scipii and Macedon pikemen. And if you notice, there's some Scipii infantry with their general up behind the pikemen there, and the general's giving morale to his troops. Meanwhile, over on our left flank here, you can see that the enemy Scipii army is aggressively attacking our allies Pompey there on the left flank. So as you see at the moment, things could go either way with this battle. Let's see what happens next. Right, as you can see, the enemy cavalry there looked like it was just mopping up the last of our allies' Brutii infantry there with those cavalry hits. But if you notice, we've got cavalry there as well, ready to charge in if needed. As you can see, the enemy's got their Scipii infantry there as well. And there you go, the enemy cavalry, Macedon cavalry, charging in there just to kind of just finish off the last of our Brutii infantry on the right. And now they're charging into the flank of my Julii infantry there. Can you see that cavalry charging in to the flank of my infantry there? I just hope my Julii infantry be able to hold, because that is one massive cavalry hit there. I know those cavalry units are battle damage, but that is some massive hit there in the flank of my infantry. Meanwhile, Pompey, with the infantry units he's got over on the left, plus his cavalry, plus my cavalry, are making a bit of a left flanking action here. Probably with a view to come in behind the enemy if we can. But if you notice that the enemy cavalry here are massed out to our right, if they charge into my flank, my Julii army's flank, there could be some problems here for our team. Now you can see Pompey's cavalry there has routed the Scipii infantry, enemy Scipii infantry here that was on our right. Nice little move there by Pompey's cavalry. As you can see, my Julii infantry are attacking as well at the same time, trying to put a lot of pressure on the enemy infantry that are there. If you notice, the Macedon general now has broken off contact on our right and our centre there to pull his Macedon pikemen back to cover the danger on his right flank and our left flank there. So now the Macedon general's moved his pikemen out of the way. We can now move forward to engage him, maybe at an angle in the flank or the rear. If you notice here, can you see that the enemy Scipii cavalry are charging into the front of my Julii infantry? Now look at the back. Can you see Scipii cavalry charging into the rear of my infantry there. You could say that I'm in a cav sandwich, and as I'm red, it's like a jam sandwich there with blue bread on either side. If you notice the impact there of the cavalry charging into my infantry. So that was a nice little tactical move. If the enemy had more cavalry, it might have done more damage. Just going to pause the game here for us to take stock of the situation at the moment. If you notice here that the enemy Scipii cavalry and infantry are engaging my Julii infantry and cavalry there. If you notice that the enemy Macedon pikemen are moving out to meet the threat of Pompey's Brutii army moving round to get behind them there. Okay, let's continue the game, see what happens next. Can you see a lot of the Scipii cavalry that attacked my my army there are beginning to rout? And I'm just thinking to myself, if I can do a cavalry attack and hit that Scipii general. Can you see the Scipii general? He's engaged with my infantry. If I can charge my cavalry in there, I reckon that I could kill that, or hoping to kill that Scipii general, which will lower the morale of all those Scipii troops. Right, here's my cavalry going in, and bang! As they hit that general. Killed the general. Did you notice all the Scipii infantry there routed there, almost in one? Remember what we always say? If you can kill the general, then you lower the morale of his troops, especially as his troops were already battle damaged and they kind of all routed in one go there. So that was a nice little cavalry hit there. If you notice now, basically all that's left of the enemy team is the Macedon pikemen now. And can you see Pompey's cavalry charging in from the flank into the Macedon general there? Nice little cavalry hit there by Pompey. And there you go, the Macedon general has now been routed. So it looks like our team has managed to go on to win this this battle. If you look at the dead on the battlefield there, you can see how intense the fighting was. And bearing in mind it's only a 3v3, if you look at all the dead on the battlefield and how thick they are on the battlefield, it looks more like a 4v4. Just like to say, really well played to everybody in the game there. I thought the enemy team played extremely well. Some really nice tactical moves by the enemy team, some great support moves, and some really massive cavalry charges. So really well done to the other team there. I'd also like to say really well done to Pompey and Killer on the team that I was in. I thought they played extremely well. Aggressive, supporting each other. Really well done. Here's just a quick look at the statistics of my army here. Thought you might find it interesting looking at each unit and seeing the kills of each of my units there. They haven't done too bad. Cavalry and some infantry units have done quite well there. But just once again, I'd like to say really well played to everybody in the team. Really great play. And as I say, Killer and Pompey, very aggressive generals, and they really helped each other out with support moves there. So this is Spartan Commander saying, hope you enjoyed the battle and look forward to seeing you soon, and bye for now.